Welcome to Global Fact Trends. Today, we're exploring the top 7 most influential international alliances shaping global politics. From military pacts to those groups that seem to exist solely to produce awkward photos of world leaders looking uncomfortable in matching shirts, these alliances play a crucial role in the global arena. Because the truth is, in the grand geopolitical game of risk that we all seem to be living in, it's always better to have a few strategic partnerships up your sleeve. So, let's dive in and try to make sense of this tangled web of acronyms and geopolitical maneuvering, shall we? First up, we have NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Formed in 1949 in the hazy, paranoid aftermath of World War II, it was essentially the West's way of saying to the Soviet Union, "We're on to you, buddy." This military alliance, boasting 30 member countries across North America and Europe, is built around the principle of collective defense enshrined in Article 5 of its treaty. Think of it like a neighborhood watch program, but instead of gossiping about suspicious squirrels, they're armed with nuclear weapons and a lingering sense of existential dread. Article 5, the cornerstone of NATO, basically says that an attack on one member is an attack on all. It's the ultimate you mess with one, you mess with the whole squad situation. With the Soviet Union relegated to the dustbin of history, it's had to reinvent itself, finding new enemies, terrorism, cyber warfare, new members, hello, Eastern Europe, and new ways to justify its enormous military spending. Some argue that NATO is a relic of the past, a Cold War dinosaur ill-equipped to deal with the complexities of the 21st century. Others maintain that it's more important than ever in a world grappling with an increasingly assertive Russia and the rise of new global powers. Whatever your stance, there's no denying that NATO remains a major player on the world stage. Next, we travel across the Atlantic to the continent of baguettes, berets, and baffling bureaucracy, Europe. Here we find the European Union, a political and economic union of 27 European countries, all choosing to share a currency, a flag, and, occasionally, a collective sense of existential dread. The EU is a fascinating beast, born out of the ashes of World War II and fueled by a desire to prevent another such conflict. The idea was simple, really. Tie the economies of Europe so closely together that war becomes unthinkable. The EU has fostered economic integration, free trade, and political cooperation among its members. But like any good reality show, the EU has its share of drama. It's a testament to the power of cooperation. Now let's shift our attention to the emerging economies, those ambitious up-and-comers looking to shake things up on the global stage. And no group embodies this ambition quite like BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This acronym, which sounds more like a bad Scrabble hand than a geopolitical force, represents a significant chunk of the world's population, landmass, and economic potential. Formed in 2006, BRICS is all about challenging the established world order, the one dominated by the West, and demanding a seat at the table where the big decisions are made. They argue that the current global financial institutions, like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, are outdated, Western-centric relics that no longer reflect the realities of the 21st century. BRICS has been busy establishing its own institutions, like the New Development Bank, a rival to the World Bank, and the Contingent Reserve Arrangement, a kind of emergency fund for members facing financial difficulties. They're also strengthening economic ties amongst themselves, promoting trade, and investing in each other's economies. But like any group of ambitious individuals thrown together, BRICS faces its fair share of internal challenges. The countries have vastly different political systems, economic models, and foreign policy goals. Despite these hurdles, BRICS remains a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of the shifting balance of power in the world. Chapter 4: The G7, the not-so-exclusive club of rich democracies. The G7, or as it's sometimes known, the group of 7 countries that like to remind everyone they're in charge. This informal gathering of the world's wealthiest democracies, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States, has been setting the global agenda, or at least trying to, since the 1970s. Think of it as the world's most exclusive club, one where membership is based on economic might, democratic credentials, sort of, and a willingness to be photographed wearing matching outfits at picturesque summits. The G7's mission, if you can call it that, is to tackle the world's most pressing economic and political challenges. They meet annually to discuss everything from climate change to global trade to, well, whatever crisis happens to be dominating the headlines that year. Critics argue that it's an outdated, elitist club that's out of touch with the realities facing much of the world. There have been calls to expand the group to include other major economies, like China and India, to make it more representative of the global landscape. But so far, the G7 has resisted these calls, preferring to keep its membership exclusive, like a group of aging rock stars clinging to their glory days. Despite its flaws, the G7 remains an influential forum for global dialogue and cooperation. Chapter 5: ASEAN, Southeast Asia's answer to, well, everything. Now let's journey to Southeast Asia, a region known for its vibrant cultures, stunning landscapes, and increasingly its growing economic and geopolitical clout. It's here we find ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, a regional organization that's been quietly but effectively shaping the region for over half a century. Formed in 1967 at the height of the Cold War, ASEAN brought together 10 Southeast Asian nations with a simple but ambitious goal: to promote peace, stability, and prosperity in a region often caught in the crosshairs of great power rivalry. ASEAN has helped to manage regional tensions, foster economic cooperation, and raise the region's profile on the world stage. It's become a model for other regional organizations, proving that even in a part of the world with a history as complex and fraught as Southeast Asia, cooperation is possible. ASEAN has played a key role in addressing regional challenges, from natural disasters to transnational crime to territorial disputes in the South China Sea. It's also been a driving force behind economic integration in the region, establishing a free trade area and working to create a single market and production base. Some argue that the organization is too consensus-driven, making it slow to act on pressing issues. Despite these challenges, ASEAN remains a vital force for stability and cooperation in Southeast Asia. Chapter 6: The Quad, a not-so-subtle message to China and everyone else. Let's be honest, the name Quad doesn't exactly scream geopolitical heavyweight. It sounds more like a newfangled exercise bike than a strategic alliance designed to counter the rise of China. But don't let the name fool you. The Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, to give it its full, unwieldy title, is a big deal. This informal strategic forum comprising the United States, Japan, India, and Australia has emerged as a key player in the Indo-Pacific region, a region increasingly seen as the epicenter of 21st century geopolitics. The Quad is all about promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific, which is diplomatic code for we're not thrilled about China's growing assertiveness in the region, and we're going to do something about it. They share intelligence, conduct joint military exercises, and coordinate their diplomatic efforts, all with an eye on Beijing. The Quad's resurgence is a sign of the times, a reflection of the shifting balance of power in the region and the growing rivalry between the United States and China. It's also a testament to the enduring importance of alliances in a world where no one country, not even one as powerful as the United States, can go it alone. The Quad's future is uncertain, its success far from guaranteed. Chapter 7: The SCO, China and Russia's Eurasian Power Play. And finally, we come to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO for short, because honestly, who has time to say all that? This Eurasian Political, Economic, and Security Alliance, founded in 2001, is often overlooked in the West, but it's a major player in its own right, particularly in Central Asia. The SCO is often seen as a counterweight to Western influence in the region, a way for China and Russia, the group's two most powerful members, to project their power and push back against what they see as Western encroachment. The SCO has its roots in the aftermath of the Cold War, when the collapse of the Soviet Union created a power vacuum in Central Asia. China and Russia, both eager to secure their interests in this strategically important region, saw an opportunity to create a new regional order, one where they would be the rule makers, not the rule takers. The SCO has expanded over the years, with several Central Asian nations joining the fold. It's become a forum for dialogue and cooperation on a range of issues, from security and counterterrorism to trade and economic development. Outgrow global alliances, a tangled web of cooperation and competition. That's a wrap on the top 7 most influential international alliances shaping global politics. We've explored the good, the bad, and the downright confusing aspects of these alliances, from their lofty goals to their sometimes questionable track records. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.